Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the 75th meeting of the 40th Council, September 22nd, 2025. First order of business is a moment of reflection. Thank you. Next order of business is disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. Oh, I'm sorry. Next order of business is the approval of the agenda. Approval of the amended agenda. I think anybody that's watching Sue's probably tapped out by now, so they're probably not going to see my mistakes. Moved by Councillor Johnson, seconded by Councillor Martin. Resolved that the amended agenda for the 75th meeting of the 40th Council be approved as amended. In favor? Carried. Now, next order of business is disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. It can be declared now or anytime during the meeting. Next is minutes from the previous meeting. First off is Committee of the Whole minutes from September 8th. Moved by Councillor Martin, seconded by Councillor Johnson. Resolved that the minutes of the Committee of the Whole meeting held September 8th, 2025 be received and filed. In favor? Carried. Next is the in-camera meeting minutes from September 8th. Moved by Councillor Johnson, seconded by Councillor Martin. Resolved that the minutes of the in-camera meeting held September 8th, 2025 be adopted as written. In favor? Carried. And lastly, the minutes from the September 8th, 2025 meeting. Moved by Councillor Martin, seconded by Councillor Johnson. Resolved that the minutes of the 74th meeting of the 40th Council held September 8th, 2025 be adopted as written. In favor? Carried. Is there any matters arising out of these minutes anyone would like to discuss? Seeing none, we'll move on to Committee of the Whole reports. Finance, bylaw number 33-25, being in agreement with Rexall Pharmacies. Jason, do you want to speak to this?
Sure. If you remember when we last spoke regarding the lease agreement with Rexall, they had requested a restricted covenant that stated for a certain period of time, council would not entertain any other lease requests essentially to put another pharmacy where they currently are if they left. So the direction from council was yes, for the remainder of their 3-year lease for a period of 5 years and specifically to the location that they are there right now. So long story short, if they left their current location, ended their lease, went to a new location, council has agreed that for a period of 5 years that they would not rent that specific location to a competing pharmacy. So we've just got the wording locked down, and then this would be the resolution brought forward.
Thanks, Jason. So moved by Councillor Johnson, seconded by Councillor Martin. Resolve that bylaw number 33-25, being a bylaw to enter into an agreement with Rexall Pharmacies, ULC, be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed. In favor? Carried. Next is a resolution to accept the 2022 financial statements. Moved by Councillor Stimson, seconded by Councillor Shine. Resolved that the town of Atikokan accept the 2022 audited financial statements as prepared by MNP LLP. In favor? Carried. And lastly, the appointment of MNP as auditors for 2023. Moved by Councillor Stimson, seconded by Councillor Shine. Resolves that the town of Atikokan appoint MNP LLP as auditors for the 2023. Any discussion? In favor? Carried. We're talking about doing 2023 roughly in November, so to get 3 audits done in 1 year is very good, and I'd like to just appreciate the hard work that's gone into that. Next is Public Works Airport Waste Management, bylaw number 32-25. Moved by Councillor Shine, seconded by Councillor Stimson. Resolve that bylaw number 32-25 being a bylaw to enter into an agreement with Cambrian Vacuum Corporation be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed. And that's the inspection on the sewer system? Sewer and water, just sewer? Sewer and storm, thanks. Any questions, comments? In favor? Carried. Next, we'll move to fire and property. Resolution to remove 110 Main Street West from surplus property. This was a request of administration last meeting. Moved by Councillor Shine, seconded by Councillor Stimson. Resolved that council authorize administration to remove 110 Main Street West from the surplus property listing. In favor? Carried. And next is LaRome Lake Phase 2 extension request. Moved by Councillor Stimson, seconded by Councillor Shine. Whereas Phase 2 draft plan approved by the ministry file number 59-T-159276 will lapse on October 9th, 2025. And whereas the developer is working to finalize and register the draft plan, now therefore be it resolved that the corporation of the town of Atikokan fully supportive of an additional extension for the said draft plan. In favor? Carried. We'll move on to number 13, other business. A letter from the Pictograph Gallery on their summer at the Tourist Bureau. So it's this was the second year that we've done this. First year was kind of a quick thing. This year we did a little more work, and they did a little more work. And I think there's if council is interested in doing that again, that I think it's beneficial for the Pictograph Gallery and for the town of Atikokan. So is any comment? Anybody want to discuss the letter or anything in the letter? Yes, Councillor Martin.
Thank you, Mayor Ferguson. I was just having a look here. It looks like volunteers were providing toilet paper, hand soap, paper towels, blah, blah, blah. So, like, don't we have $6,000 or $7,000 in the budget for that building? Why do we have to rely on volunteers to donate that?
Well, I can speak to that. So, and when I read that, I had the same, because I had sent an email to them with a purchase order for home hardware. So the fact is that the woman that I was corresponding was on vacation. I was on vacation as well. Happened to be the volunteers at that particular time. We're unaware of that. We do provide consumables for our building for that. And then in regards to repairs and that, we did have a conversation regarding supplying paint and that. So I know that there are some plans for next year. If council decides to continue this relationship, then we'll have a closer look at what work needs to be done there.
Great. Yes, Councillor Shine.
Yeah, so like I said, it'll be a discussion. First off, it'll be a request to occupy the space again next year, and then as part of that conversation, it'll be a discussion on what needs to be done and what can be done. Mm-hmm.
Yes, Councillor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor Ferguson. I can answer that question, Councillor Shine. There is a group of volunteers that is willing to do the work that they are requesting. It won't be no charge to or expense to the township.
Having said that, if there are expenses needed regarding like paint or lumber, then we will look to support that. Yeah.
If there is agreement between them and the town again, like Jason said.
Yes, Councillor Stimson.
Will volunteers be able to do work that's union jobs? Is that classed as a union job? I'm just wondering if we're gonna open up a can of worms with volunteers.
Volunteers step up and do a lot of work for the town in different areas.
Katie, we'll see, I guess.
Okay. We'll take that letter as read. And now we'll move. Oh, it's not on the. It wasn't changed, isn't it? I can't change. Yes, Councillor Lyons. Thank you. Was it seconded? To include the resolution change, amended? So it's moved by Councillor Shine, seconded by Councillor Stimson. Resolved that the town of Atikokan supports in principle the siting of a large-scale battery energy storage system known as BESS projects in the town of Atikokan for submission into the Independent Electricity System Operators Long-Term Capacity Services Procurement known as the LT2. And further be it resolved that the town of Atikokan Council delegates authority to the CAO to submit a blanket municipal support confirmation letter for approval of a project, and further be it resolved that the resolution is solely for the purposes of satisfying the mandatory requirement under section 4.2 C number 3 of the LT2 C1 request for proposals and does not supersede any applicable permits or approvals under applicable laws and regulations that may be required for a particular project. Comments? In favor of this resolution? Carried.
I had questions.
Oh, I'm sorry, Gord.
That's okay. I would just make a comment before supporting this that, and I'm all in favor of it, and I've been an dev person for 20 years, but 2 hours ago I didn't know this project existed. Outside of the few people who watched it on YouTube, do the townspeople know that this project exists? Do we owe an amount of due diligence, I guess would be my only question. I'm happy to support if that's the will of everyone else, but I just want to give this a little more time to marinate than a 15-minute PowerPoint.
Yes, Jason.
That's a good question. Thank you, Councillor Knowles. I think it's a blanket resolution for a reason. I think it is vague enough that this is not specific to this organization. I believe that another organization that was putting in a proposal under LT2 could probably use it. The key is the second paragraph, I think, when they're looking for that specific letter. I believe a lot of work needs to be done before that letter is penned and included, unless, again, it is very high level and in a draft format that can be discussed and presented to council. In regards to the land, the specifics of it, as Mayor Ferguson had said, if there was a economic benefit agreement, I think there's a lot more that needs to be done, and I appreciate the fact that this does seem like it was just brought upon council. There has, since our return from AMO, there has been a lot of discussion with this organization and, in fact, another organization regarding this. So there's a lot of discussions and work happening in the background. This was the first opportunity to bring it to council to kind of educate them on that. But we will be bringing back more information regarding, like I said, land and agreements. And obviously, we would not be entering into any sort of agreement without council's full discussion and approval on it. So more to come.
Thank you. I guess if I can ask a follow-up, so would the letter of support be binding past that, or is there an escape clause if the paper comes out on Wednesday and it turns out people are not in favor of this? We've had a chance to digest more information beyond the PowerPoint and may not have the same level of excitement for it. I just really want to make sure we do due diligence and we're not just jumping at the first opportunity that comes along. I get the economic benefit. I get everything that's being presented here. I just want to make sure that we're doing this in a way that makes it look like we've put due process and due thought into it. Thank you.
Absolutely, and in fact, it was Mayor Ferguson had asked them in some of our previous discussions regarding public consultation. So this just gets them, I think, gets their foot in the door in regards to this procurement opportunity with the ISO. There's still a lot of hurdles that they would have to overcome to get approval on the project. I think the point of this is saying, you know, and again, as per our resolution, a willing host community that is looking at this. As I mentioned earlier, there will be a site-specific zoning amendment process that would have to happen. As part of that, once again, there's public consultation. So in no way are we trying to fast track this and the discussions regarding surplus land and the clear and transparent process in regards to the disposal of such surplus land. So I think that although it might seem a bit hurried, I think that we are doing our due diligence. We are just trying to assist this organization to be able to be competitive in this process.
Thank you.
Yes, Councillor Shine.
Thank you, Mayor Ferguson. I was going to say perhaps to get the community involvement and to get them aware of it is just like what they did with the deposit site up in Ignis is perhaps it's time for this company to come forward and do a public open house at some point. And I would be willing to offer the Legion as a hosting site. Just to put it out there.
Yeah, it's something that we can look at. This letter, like, I think the date was October 9th, and they needed a resolution like this to put their application forward. The Ministry of Energy has made it perfectly clear that they will not entertain any generating or storage proposals without a letter like this. So it is just for them to get the ball rolling. But yeah, it's, you know, I'm sure that they would be willing to give everybody the information and, but yeah, this is very preliminary on this. Councillor Stimson.
I have a question. I turned it off so nobody can hear me. But I have a question about to Sue, Clerk Bates. Sorry. When we declare a conflict of interest, are we allowed to stay in the room? I was told I couldn't.
No, you can.
Oh, okay. Well, I had to leave when we were here for about a land thing, but that's okay. All right.
I think the rules are when you declare a conflict of interest, you're not allowed to comment on it.
You can still hear what other people are saying, though.
As Councillor Lyons, because you could influence other people in the room by making facial expressions, throwing your hands in the air, shaking your head.
Or you could leave and if you were against something, you know, a person would know that who was in favor, who wasn't. You know, I'm not saying when Councillor Lyons did anything wrong. I'm just saying that I guess I was given the wrong information at one time.
I guess so.
Okay, that's good.
Next.
May I make a comment?
Oh, yes.
I believe at the time you probably asked the question. I don't believe you were told that you have an option to leave, but I don't believe at any time the clerk's department had stated that you must leave during conflict of interest.
Oh, because
It's an option if you, it's an option if you so choose, and I believe you so choose to do
No,
that. You were not directed by administration to leave the room.
okay, it's just our choice.
Just to let you know.
Oh, because when Jimmy, me, and Sue, and Liz leftover Bass Classic thing about the toilets, okay.
You chose to.
We are,
could have stayed, I
we're
guess,
getting
then.
off of our agenda here, so,
Yeah,
we can
okay,
discuss
I have a
this
question.
later on.
No problem.
That was everybody in approval?
No, everybody said, everybody was in favor.
It's good to know.
Okay,
Okay? Next,
now we can go.
I don't have a current agenda. so
Yeah, you going in
What's
camera.
next?
That was,
Okay, I need the, and we're not coming out, so we'll close the meeting. So next order of business, we will go in camera, moved by Counselor Shine, seconded by Counselor Stimpson. Litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board. So are we in favor of going in camera? Carried, and we will not be coming out of in camera. We'll eventually get that. Moved by Counselor Shine, seconded by Counselor Stimpson, resolved that this meeting do now adjourn. In favor? Carried.